The cafe was buzzing with life that morning, every table filled with chatter, laptops, and the clinking of coffee cups. Amelia, a young girl in her worn-out shoes and faded sweater, nervously stepped inside. She wasn't there to buy coffee, she couldn't afford it. She just wanted a quiet place to sit, maybe to rest her tired feet after walking miles from a job hunt that had led nowhere. Without thinking, she slipped into an empty seat at a corner table. But she didn't realize it wasn't empty at all, it was reserved. Within minutes, a man in a crisp suit returned with his latte. His watch gleamed, his presence commanding. The whispers around confirmed it, he was Daniel Reed, the CEO of a major company. Amelia froze. Her cheeks burned with embarrassment. She jumped up to leave, mumbling an apology. But Daniel simply looked at her and said one word. Stay. The entire cafe seemed to pause. Nobody expected that. Not Amelia. Not the onlookers. Why would a powerful CEO ask a poor, exhausted girl to sit at his table? Her world shifted in that moment, though she didn't know it yet. Amelia sat back down slowly, her hands trembling. I didn't mean to take your seat. I'll leave, she whispered. Daniel shook his head. No. Stay. You look like you need this seat more than I do. The kindness in his tone disarmed her. He didn't look irritated or judgmental. Instead, he gestured to the chair as if it were hers. The silence stretched before Amelia finally confessed, I've been looking for work, anywhere that will give me a chance. But no one wants to hire me. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be telling you this. Daniel listened intently. He noticed the tiredness in her eyes, the calluses on her hands, the dignity she tried so hard to hold on to despite her situation. Around them, customers pretended not to eavesdrop, but everyone's curiosity grew. You know, Daniel said at last, every successful person has sat in a place they didn't belong, until someone gave them permission to stay. Tears welled in Amelia's eyes. She had expected rejection, maybe even humiliation. Instead, she was being seen, truly seen, for the first time in a long while. Would you join me for coffee? He asked. She hesitated, then nodded. For the first time in weeks, Amelia felt a spark of hope. Amelia sat across from Daniel, still unsure if this was real. The warm aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air as the barista quietly placed 2 cups on the table. Amelia stared at hers, almost guilty for accepting something she hadn't paid for. Daniel leaned forward. Tell me about yourself. She hesitated. Nobody ever asked. I used to be a good student. I dreamed of being a designer. But after my mother passed away, everything fell apart. I left college to work. Since then, I've been doing whatever I can to survive. Daniel listened carefully, his expression thoughtful. You remind me of myself when I was young, he said finally. People only saw my failures, not my effort. But one person believed in me. That changed everything. Amelia looked up, surprised. You? But you're a CEO? Wealthy? Yes. But once, I was a kid sitting in a library with empty pockets, pretending I belonged. Someone told me to stay. I've never forgotten that. The words sank into Amelia's heart. For the first time, she saw not just a powerful businessman, but a man who understood. He pulled out his phone. My company has an internship program. It's competitive, but I think you deserve a chance. If you want it, the opportunity is yours. Her breath caught. Was this happening? This stranger, this CEO, was offering her the one thing she had prayed for, a chance. That night, Amelia could hardly sleep. Doubt gnawed at her. What if he only said it out of pity? What if I fail? But Daniel's words echoed in her mind, every successful person has sat in a place they didn't belong, until someone gave them permission to stay. The next morning, she walked into the towering glass building of Reed Enterprises, heart pounding. The receptionist looked at her skeptically until Daniel himself appeared, smiling warmly. "Amelia, I'm glad you came." Her first weeks were overwhelming. She made mistakes, asked endless questions, and often felt out of place among confident interns in expensive suits. But she never forgot Daniel's belief in her. Slowly, she began to shine. Her designs were original, her dedication unshakable. One evening, while preparing a presentation, Amelia realized something: she wasn't the poor girl at the wrong table anymore. She had earned her place here. Daniel noticed, too. In a board meeting, he introduced her design mock-ups. "This young woman has vision. Don't underestimate her." The room of executives turned their eyes toward Amelia, not with pity, but respect. For the first time, she held her head high. Months later, Amelia stood in the same café where it all began. But this time, she wasn't hiding. She ordered her own coffee, her shoulders confident, her smile bright. She spotted Daniel at his usual corner table. "Mind if I join you?" she asked playfully. He chuckled. "Stay," he replied, just like the first day. They talked about her progress, her growing career, and the fact that she had finally saved enough to re-enroll in design school part-time. Daniel listened with pride. "You've come a long way, Amelia. And you did it yourself. I only opened a door." Tears pricked her eyes, but this time they were happy ones. "If you hadn't told me to stay that day, I don't know where I'd be." Daniel leaned back, his tone gentle. "Sometimes, the smallest kindness can change a life. Never forget that. And one day, when you see someone sitting where they don't belong, tell them to stay." Amelia smiled through her tears. She knew she would carry that lesson forever. The story of a poor girl who sat at the wrong table wasn't about luck or chance, it was about kindness, belief, and the courage to accept a hand when it's offered. And as she left the café that day, Amelia didn't feel like the girl who didn't belong. She felt like someone who was finally becoming who she was meant to be.